So good afternoon and welcome. My name's Richard Duffy. I am the General Manager for Enterprise here in Asia Pacific, and I'm also the Product Evangelist for Enterprise. I'd like to welcome you to today's session where I'm going to give you an introduction to Enterprise, which is the simplified online mobile way to give more people inside your organization access to the data and business processes that you have chosen to automate with SAP Business One. What I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about what Enterprise does, but then we're really going to focus on actually showing you, because the feedback we've had from people just like yourselves is that it's really seeing the solution for yourself that really helps you understand what Enterprise does. So let's just talk quickly about part of the challenge that you might be facing as you have deployed SAP Business One. So you think about it, when you first started off and you were looking at enterprise resource planning, everybody told you that the great thing about ERP was that it was going to enable you to give everybody inside your business access to information and really unlock the power of that information to make better decisions, to give your customers better customer service, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, the economic realities kick in, and it's not necessarily that easy to be able to afford to give everybody inside your organization access to SAP Business One. And we recognize that. Not only that, SAP Business One is a great piece of software, it's very functionally rich, but for some newer people coming into the organization, they might not necessarily like that user interface. Potentially the younger folks coming into a company, they look at that user interface and they're more used to, I won't call them the Facebook generation, but they're more used to those rich web-based graphical user interfaces. And SAP Business One doesn't necessarily scrub up too well in that aspect. And then the third component is you've got people who are out there doing their jobs on the road, whether they're working from home, whether they're working on site when they're visiting customers, whether they're sitting by the side of the road with their mobile devices getting ready to go out and do customer visits or following up after a customer visit. You know, your salespeople, your service people, all these different folks really need to have access to the information that's held inside your SAP Business One solution. Now, how do you give all of those people what they want and do it in a cost-effective way? Well, the answer is Enterprise. Now, I'm going to assume that you know your SAP Business One system very, very well. So today's session is not necessarily so much about SAP Business One. It's really more about showing you how at very low cost you can now take the Enterprise solution and put it in the hands of people inside your organization who today probably don't have access to SAP Business One. And you're potentially looking at, how do I extend that functionality out and give it to more people? That's what we're going to talk about today. So when you think about Enterprise, what is it? Enterprise is fundamentally a web-based solution that connects to your SAP Business One database. And it allows you, through a web-based user interface, to give people access to those transactions and those business processes in your SAP Business One solution. Things like quote to cash, being able to go from the process of creating a quote, turning it into a sales order, turning the sales order into an invoice, and then getting paid for it. Procure to pay, being able to go out, raise a purchase order, receive those goods, and then pay the supplier for those goods. And then other things like service call to resolution, getting a service call from one of your customers, whether it relates to a product or maybe it's a customer service issue, and then being able to track and manage that service call right throughout all the different touch points inside your organization till you get to the point where the service call is resolved in a positive fashion. So let's go and take a look and see exactly how Enterprise does this. So when you're using Enterprise, the thing to remember is that the first and primary way that most people will engage with Enterprise is through a web browser. Now, important point to note, what I'm going to show you today, you can go ahead and you can do this yourself. So it's going to be working with a set of demonstration data. But of course, if you have your own SAP Business One system, what we're able to do together with your SAP Business One partner is we're able to connect your existing SAP Business One system into a trial version of Enterprise as well. So bear that in mind. But for now, we're going to focus on utilizing our demo environment. So you'll see I go to apps.enterpryze.com. So I open up my web browser, and it can be Microsoft Edge, it can be Google Chrome, it can be Firefox, any one of those HTML5 compliant web browsers. And then you just go and put in this URL, apps.enterpryze.com. And you'll get brought to this sign-in page. Now, this is where, if you wanted to go and sign up and hook up your own demo environment, you would do that. We've got videos that actually walk you through all of that, but let's go and we're going to sign in for now. So I'm going to sign in with this username of demo1@enterpryze.com, and then the password we're going to put in here is DEMO1 user. So demo1 user, all lowercase, and that's the number 1, okay? And then we're going to hit sign in. Now what the system's doing, it's automatically going in and it's checking. For you as a user, you might have 4, 5, 6 different companies that you run on SAP Business One. You can lock down and only allow certain users access to certain companies. And of course, you can even lock it down so that certain users can only access certain data in those companies. So security is a given, but it's basically said, you know what? Richard, you've now logged in as this Demo1 user, and you've got access to these 2 companies, Demo Company and the imaginatively named Demo Company 2. So you can see when I go here into this Demo Company, what the system does is it brings me into what we call the 360-degree view. Now, the 360-degree view gives you exactly that. It gives you a 360-degree or a completely encompassing picture of the majority of the transactions that you work with on a day-to-day basis that relate to your customers, that relate to your orders, and that relate to your service calls and opportunities. So fundamentally, the majority of people, when they look at Enterpryze, they look at it as a sales tool to help them really generate and manage the revenue generation process. But it also has capabilities there, as you'll see shortly, around service, around expense management, around procurement. So bear that in mind. But when you first look at it, it's giving you the big picture from a sales perspective. So you'll see when I come into the 360-degree view, it shows me all of my transactions. And it's showing me all of my activities first and foremost. But if I want to see all of the service calls that I've put in, then I simply click here on the service call tile, and you'll see here are all of those service calls, and I can drill down to one of those service calls on the spot. I want to look at the sales opportunities that I have that I'm currently managing because I'm a salesperson, and here are all of my sales opportunities, and so on and so forth. You can see each one of these, the quotes I've done, the orders, the deliveries, sales invoices, and so on. But and that's just my transactions, but of course, part of the beauty of Enterpryze is that it unlocks all the data that's in your SAP Business One solution. So I can go here and I can say all transactions. And now I'm not just seeing my service calls. You'll see when I've got my transactions, 137 service calls. When I say all transactions, 215 service calls. So I'm pretty busy. I've done 137 of those 215 service calls. But when I click on that now, you'll actually see what I'm seeing down here now is everybody's service calls. Not just my service calls, but everybody else's as well. Okay, so it makes it very, very easy for you to get the big picture. And then, of course, you can filter these as well. You can narrow it down. Let's say I'm about to make a phone call to Earthshaker Corporation. I can just go in here and just start typing Earthshaker, and you'll see it automatically narrows me down and only shows me those records that relate to that particular partner. All right, so it's very easy to build that picture of what you're looking at. But here's the great thing about this, of course, when we go up here and we look at the next tab, remember we started at 360, when we go here and we look at the next tab, which is our partners, this is the business partners in SAP Business One that you're looking at. When I click here on partners and I go and look at my suppliers, what you'll see will happen here is, for example, if I go in here and I want to do a search and I start typing Earthshaker, there's my record for Earthshaker. And what you'll see across here, of course, is there is the snapshot picture of Earthshaker. So now I can drill down and specifically see the contacts that I have that I'm working with at Earthshaker, all the activities, the opportunities, the quotes, and so on and so forth. So it makes it very, very easy for you to drill down and look at that information. So let's say I've got Bob McKensley, who's my primary contact from Earthshaker, on the phone, and I want to look at the opportunities that I'm working on for him. All I do is I simply click on opportunities, and there you have it. There are the opportunities that are currently being worked. Now, you might look at that and go, hang on, that previous one said 7. I can only see 5. Well, that's because we've got a filter. And we're filtering this and we're only showing the open opportunities because that's all I want to see. But if I was, again, going to go and say select all here, now you'll see we've got our full 7 opportunities. So again, the system gives you the ability to really narrow down on what's important to you as a user. And I'm sure you'll recognize this is a very different user interface to what you're probably familiar with SAP Business One. It's much cleaner. It's, for want of a better term, it's a prettier interface, if I could use that expression. And, you know, if you're a salesperson or if you're a manager inside your organization, you will know one of the big challenges is getting people to want to use the software. The way you do that is by making it easy to use and by making it attractive. And hopefully you'll agree with me that this is an attractive looking user interface. So again, I've got that ability to drill down and look at all these different records. But then, of course, I can then drill down and start saying, okay, show me the details behind this. Let's say I'm a sales professional inside your organization, and I'm responsible for managing a pipeline of opportunities and turning those opportunities into orders. So I want to be able to manage my own pipeline. So that's where you'll see the salesperson here currently is set to me. So I can now see against each one of these areas, each one of these stages that's in my SAP Business One solution, how many opportunities I have in each one of these phases. Okay, so I've got 42 opportunities in the quotation phase. I'm in negotiation on 9. I've got 4 that have just been turned into orders. So you can see I'm a pretty busy guy. But I can go in here, let's say, for example, I'm the sales manager now. I'll go in here and I'll say, show me the big picture and let me see all the opportunities that people are working on. And so what that allows me to do is then drill down and see every single opportunity that's in the system. So it's not just about visibility though. I can now go and work those opportunities directly in here. So let's say, for example, I am working on this opportunity for a maintenance service contract with Ada Technologies. I've just done a phone call with them. So I want to add a linked activity. So I want to record that I made that phone call. All I do is I click on that add linked activity button, and now you can see I can record the details of the phone call that I made, which was a follow-up phone call. So I simply go in here, I tell the system it was actually relating to the quote. It's assigned to me anywhere where you see demo 1. That's the current user that I'm signed into, but I can assign it to anybody else. Now, again, if you're familiar with SAP Business One, you'll see this is pretty much the same process, just a different way of doing it. Okay, so then again, I put in the details, followed up with my contact, and then I can go in here and I can say that proposal is going to the board on Friday. And so then it's automatically recorded the start time. I can record what the action was. Well, it was a phone call. I can record what the subject was. And again, same scenario here. It was a follow-up. And then I can record as well the location where that call was done. So I can say, look, it was done at an office. And then I simply go in here and I say save. And now what's happening is that activity is now being saved against that quotation. So now if I was to go and look at that, so there it is. There's my maintenance service contract. That's the opportunity that I'm working on. So what I can do is I am able to double click on that opportunity and drill down on it. And then you'll see this is the opportunity as it's moved through all of those stages when it went from lead to first meeting to quotation to negotiation. So for example, if I've got more details that I want, I can simply call up the opportunity. I can hit the edit button and now I'm actually editing the full opportunity itself. So this maintenance contract actually now looks like it might be worth $5,000. And I now think that on the basis of what's happening, this opportunity is actually now going to close potentially on Friday. So I can simply select here using my date picker. I can go in here and I can say, well, I think it's actually going to close this Friday. So a big call for those of you in sales, you'll know you don't make those kind of calls lightly. Bringing a sales opportunity forward like that. But anyway, I'm feeling confident with this opportunity, and then I hit save, and that opportunity has now been updated. So again, the beauty of this is all this information is being updated for me inside SAP Business One. So for me as a salesperson that's using this rich, low-cost user interface that's provided by Enterpryze, I can update this information, and then everybody else that's using full SAP Business One, they've got access to all that information as well. Let's take a look at another area, for example, which is important, because once I've gone through and I've created my opportunity, customers decided they're going to buy, well, what's the next step? Well, the next step is to create a sales order. And sales orders in Enterpryze, of course, are very easy as well. Give you a classic scenario where a lot of customers look at Enterpryze and they say, wow, this is a great solution. Think about it from if your business is seasonal, you might have periods of time where you need to get a large number of extra staff to come in and start doing sales orders and be taking calls from customers on the phone. Unfortunately, the way that Business One is currently licensed, it's very, very difficult to be able to do that, and it's quite expensive. With Enterpryze, you can simply add those additional users that you need for the period of time you need to use them, and so you switch them on and off, which is part of that beauty of the whole cloud model. And this software as a service model is that you can truly consume the software licenses on demand. So I've got a whole bunch of extra people who've come into the organization now because maybe, let's say, my big business period is Christmas. So my biggest month is in October and November. So I'm going to have those extra people coming in October, November. Then Christmas, December is over. Those people, they're casual. Then they go back out and they go off onto other roles or whatever the case may be. So I've now got those people coming in and utilizing the system. They can come in here very, very simply, create a new sales order. Doesn't require a huge amount of training, as I'm sure you'll see here. Who's the customer? Well, who have I got on the phone? Let's pick on my good friends Earthshaker again. So now I'm taking the phone call from Earthshaker Corporation. Who am I speaking to? It's Bob McKensley. What's the date of the transaction? Well, it's today's date. When do they want it delivered? Well, they actually want it delivered this Friday. So we'll select it for Friday. And then I go in and I start putting in the details of what they're buying. Now you'll see it says checking in SAP. So your people that are doing the sales orders don't need to worry about any special pricing that's been set up in SAP Business One for Earthshaker because it's automatically picking it up. Even if I change the quantity, you'll see that it goes and checks if there is a quantity break. So there's my line. I now can go and add another line. Not only did they want some 1420 printers, but they wanted some 1111s and they wanted 10 of those. So I put those in there. That's it. Do I want to put any comments? So I'll say, please deliver ASAP, and that's all great. So then I hit the save button, and it's now going to automatically, if I want it to, it's going to email a confirmation of that sales order through to Bob McKensley for me. All right, and you'll see that sales order's been saved. There's the details of the sales order, and bang, that's now automatically across in SAP Business One for me. All right, so then it kicks into your normal logistics process, goes through the pick, pack, and ship process. All right, but then what happens next? Well, now you want to deliver that order. So I've got sales order 893. So I can go here to my delivery now. And remember, sales order 893, there it is there. Please deliver ASAP. I'm able to go into my scheduler. And I can say, you know what? That order is currently scheduled to be delivered by me. And I'm the demo one user. So each user that you have set up in the system, they can be a salesperson and a delivery driver and a technician, or they can be a salesperson, another person's a delivery driver, another person's a technician. In this case, I'm wearing all three hats with my user. And you'll see there it is. That order has now been scheduled for Friday the 2nd. Why? Because that was the delivery date that I put down. But the actual order itself, it's flagged for Friday, but it hasn't been scheduled. So what I can now do is I can look at all my delivery drivers, for example, and I can pick these two delivery drivers. Demo, actually we'll pick, we've got demo 1. We've got our delivery driver. Let's untick that one. We've got demo 1 and demo 3. I'm going to give this order to my delivery driver demo 3, and I'm going to get him to deliver it at 10 o'clock on Friday. So I simply click, drag, and drop that across onto my demo 3 delivery driver, and you'll see that sales order is now scheduled for him to make the delivery. Now, we're going to show you a couple of the mobile apps in a second, but effectively, what that delivery driver now has on his delivery mobile app, because that's what he works with on his iPhone or his Android, he has an application just for doing deliveries that he can now call that up, make the delivery, get the customer to sign for it, take a picture of where he left the goods if he left them with another business because that's what he was instructed to do. Whatever the case may be, he can do all of that, and then that basically happens. Cool? All right, so you get to see the flexibility that you have here in the system, and the beauty of this user interface makes it incredibly easy for you to be able to get new people on board with using the software with a minimal amount of training. Let's take a look at one other area. Let's go ahead and let's take a look. Actually, you know what? What I'm going to do is I am actually going to dive in and we'll take a look at some of the mobile apps now. Let's take a look at the mobile delivery app, and you'll see here are all of my Enterpryze applications are sitting here. I put them all into this group called business. So now what I can do is I can go into delivery. So I log in as my demo 3 at enterpryze.com, and if you want to follow along with this and you want to try this process yourself as well, what do you think the password is? Yep, you're right, it's demo 3 user. No prizes for imagination there. So I choose to sign into Enterpryze, and so what the system's now doing is it's signing me in. Now you'll see up the top here, I have this little circle here. What this allows me to do is it allows me to refresh that data. Why is that important? Here's the thing with all of the mobile apps. They work online and offline. So if you don't have an internet connection, as long as your data has been refreshed recently, all that recently refreshed data is going to be available for you to work with on your mobile app. Your people might go out to a location where there isn't an internet connection. You don't want them to be brought to a grinding halt. You want them still to be able to process their deliveries, process sales, manage their pipeline. With Enterpryze, we give you the capability to do that. So then I go across here and I pick my date, and then I say, you know what? Remember, we had the 2nd. If I go there, we go, that's better, Friday the 2nd, you can now see that there's one delivery selected for that date. So I can choose that date, and there it is. I've got 2 lines to deliver to Earthshaker. So I can take that order, and the system also allows you to record when you arrived and when you left the customers as well. You might have scenarios where you've got very specific delivery windows. But anyway, I'm there, I'm making the delivery, I'm making the delivery in full. So I can go in here and I can get the customer to sign for it. So I just tap the signature button, I ask them to sign for the delivery, I hit save, and then I hit the deliver button. And what you'll see will happen now is that delivery will go ahead and it will get processed and completed. So there you have it. That delivery is now completed. Now, of course, back in the warehouse, when they look at that view again, what you're going to see, and I'm just going to do a quick refresh of that screen. You'll now see when I'm looking at that day that delivery has now gone because that delivery is now complete. Let's go back and let's have a quick look at another one of our applications. Let's go and let's take a look at our expense management, because I know this is another area that a lot of people are very, very keen on, is the area of expenses. So I can go back here and let's take a look at our expense entry system. So what I've got right now is I am currently logged in as demo user 1. All right, so I can now see all of my expenses that I have created and that are sitting in the system. If I want to create a new expense, I simply click on the plus key here. I go and I say I want to create a receipt. what's the receipt type. Now, all of these expense types are set up inside Enterprise. So whatever the expense buckets are that you have people coding their expenses to, you can pick them. So in this case, it's an airfare. And it was from today, let's say, because what this allows you to do is it allows you to get your people to start doing their expenses as they go. Very, very important. Get rid of that whole bottleneck of being able to manage expenses in a timely fashion. I can pick a project if it's related to a project in SAP Business One, but then I can go in and put the dollar value. So let's say it was let's say I flew from Dublin to London. It was 250 British pounds for that ticket. Okay, and then now it looks kind of silly. I'm located in Noosa Heads in Australia. It's automatically picked up my location where I am when I'm putting this through, but just bear with me. Let's pretend I'm actually in the United Kingdom as our data is. What was my purpose? So this was, I was flying for a team meeting. So again, you see, you put that detail in there. Okay, you can nominate there if it was for a customer, if it was billable to a customer, and also who's paying for it. Am I paying for it and I'm reclaiming the expense back, or did the company pay for it in advance? In this case, I'm paying for it. Now I'm claiming the expenses back. So I then say done. I then go up here. Now what I can do is I can take a picture of one of the previous bills that I had that were in my list of all of my photos, of course, or I can take a brand new photo. So actually, you know what? I've got an invoice here. Now, obviously, this isn't how a airline ticket's going to look. This is actually a grocery receipt, but I'm going to use it anyway because you get the general idea what we're trying to achieve here. So I click here on my photo. I say, take a photo. My camera kicks in. There it is. There's my bill. You can see what I bought at the grocery store this morning. I take a photo of that and I say, use the photo. That photo is now attached to my receipt. And if I've got multiple pages, of course, I can take multiple photos. But that's it. I'm done. I hit submit. I hit submit again. And that expense is now being submitted into the system. So what now happens? Well, my boss gets, when they go in, they will see that there are expenses that have been submitted. So let's just quickly, for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to show you what happens when my boss logs in. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log out. My boss is actually demo 2. And so I'll just use the right username and password there for that, which is demo2@enterpryze.com. And yes, you guessed it, the password is demo2user. And I'll hit sign in. So now when my boss logs in and he or she goes across here into expenses, the first view they get is they're going to see all the expenses that they have to review. And there it is. There is that expense that I just processed. So expense number 193, there it is today, the 30th of May, 250 pounds. And then I can click on it, drill down and look at it as the manager. There it is. Oh, there's the copy, the photo that I took of the expense. So that's all great. Do I need to make any changes? Maybe the employee coded it to the wrong GL code or the wrong cost center or something like that. I can simply click on edit and make the changes. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to approve that expense now. And then as soon as that expense is approved, of course, for me as an employee, I no longer see that expense in my pending expenses. It's now completed. And guess what? That now goes through to the finance team, and the finance team can then go and process that as an accounts payable invoice, because you'll know in SAP Business One, that's how you pay your employees' expenses. You set them up as an accounts payable vendor, and then you process their payments that same way. All right. So that kind of takes care of the demo that I wanted to do today. I wanted to give you a quick look at an example of how the software works, how it comes together from a web perspective, and then give you a quick snapshot of just a couple of those web applications and those mobile applications that are available for you. Your next step. If you're interested in finding out more about Enterpryze, then please visit our website, and you can find us at www.enterpryze.com. And if you're interested in signing up for a free trial, you simply go across here and you can sign up for a free trial. What that will do is that will then send you out an email which explains to you how to access the free trial, the username and password, and we've also given you a little bit of a video here to explain some of the fundamentals as well. I know I went through a lot of this quickly. You might not necessarily remember everything, but if you want to spend some more quality time with me, you can watch this video and I'll take you through and show you how to quickly navigate again through Enterpryze. And then, of course, if you're interested in buying the solution, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, hang on, that all looks great. How much is this solution? Well, we have different pricing according to the different countries. Now, why is there different pricing? Because of the different currencies. But just to give you an indication, if you're in the United States, it's $9.95 US per user per month. Now, a user license allows you to access everything. It's not $9.95 for expenses and $9.95 for delivery and $9.95 for sales. It's $9.95 flat. That gives you access to everything. If you're in Europe, it's €9.95 per user per month. Same scenario. If you're here in Australia, it's $14.95 Australian. If you're in New Zealand, it's $14.95 New Zealand dollars. So it's very, very simple pricing. And what do you need from an SAP perspective? Well, if you're already licensed for SAP Business One, then you're covered. But if you're not already a Business One user, then you just need what's called an indirect access user. Now, your SAP Business One partner can tell you more about that, or of course, one of our enterprise sales team, when you contact us, can explain how all that works for you. Okay? But it's very, very quick, very, very easy, and very, very simple. I'd also encourage you for more information as well. We have a whole range of additional videos, not only from myself, but also from other people in our team, our CEO, Morgan Brown, explaining how the software works, as well as a whole range of how-to videos going through each one of those processes in detail, like quote to cash, procure to pay, showing you going from service to resolution, showing you how each one of those works. So please feel free to take a look around on our website, and we will be more than happy to work with you. And of course, at any point in time, if you've got questions, you can also take advantage of our chat functionality, and you can simply access the chat down here on the bottom right-hand side of the web browser. Our team's more than happy to talk with you. We look forward to having the opportunity to work with you and show you how Enterpryze can help you make your business simplified, mobile, and web-based. Thanks very much. That brings today's session to an end. Have a great day.